Nikki from the Stitch Sisters here, and we are back with the third part in our man sewing series. Man sewing! We're really excited to see the growing interest on Instagram and also on our YouTube comments from all of you people who are loving our man sewing videos. We're getting lots of recommendations from you on other patterns to try, articles to read, magazines to buy.
Yep.
And that's really, really helping us in our man sewing investigations.
We need a lot of help, to be honest.
Yes, well, it has been an interesting journey so far, but we are really enjoying it. We're definitely learning a lot. So, this week, we've been making sweatshirts and hoodies. I've made a sweatshirt.
And I've made a hoodie.
So the sweatshirt that I made is the Paxson sweatshirt, which is a seamwork pattern. I have had a love-hate relationship with this pattern, and I had every intention of ditching it and finding, because this is the third one that I've made for my husband.
Yeah.
And so I planned to ditch it and find another pattern that didn't have quite so many issues, because I did find that the sizing was a little bit off. In the end, I decided that there are so few menswear patterns out there that I needed to make my peace with the pattern, and I needed to find a way to make it work. So by using other sweatshirts that he has as a reference and adjusting the size of the pattern, the width and the length and sleeve length, and also stabilising the neck area and making the neckband smaller, I was able to make it something that I was happy with and he was happy with, so that's great. So I probably will continue to use it as a base, although at some point Nikki has bought a menswear pattern drafting book, and I do plan to read that and draft my own men's sweatshirt at some stage.
I think that's definitely essential, because you'll get it right from all the experience that you've now gathered with all of these Paxton and all the sweatshirts that we've made. We'll get it right.
So I'm making the best of it.
Yes.
Again, as always, if you have any recommendations for men's sweatshirts that genuinely work and are true to size and fit well, then I would love to hear from you. So please do comment below. I used a beautiful double-sided quilted jersey from Minerva.
Oh, it was
It's
gorgeous.
in a marine blue.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw it, I'd seen it a little bit before, and I was eyeing it up for a bomber jacket because I just thought that would be lovely for him.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be covering jackets in this series just yet. And so I loved it so much I had to find another thing to use it for, and I decided to use it for a sweatshirt. Now, it's too thick a jersey to be able to make the bands out of the same fabric.
Okay.
So I already had some navy ribbing in my stash, so I used that for the neckband and the cuffs and the base band and the hemband, and that all worked out great. It is a very thick fabric, so it's definitely for the warmer months.
Winter sweatshirt, lovely.
But he loves it, really loves it. And
excellent.
so
and how was the fit in the end?
The fit was okay. We differ, and I will get your opinion after we've shown you the video and the pictures. I think it's a little bit too voluminous around here, so I think these diagonal seams need to be taken in slightly. And I don't think that's the pattern's fault. I think it's just because it's such a thick fabric that if it was thinner, there would be a little bit more drape to it, and the excess here wouldn't just stand out. I think it looks a little bit like he's had someone put a bicycle pump up his sleeve and just pump his chest
Pump
up
some
a little
air
bit.
out
And he's
underneath.
very broad across the chest anyway, so but he totally disagrees and loves it just as it is, and keeps saying to me, leave it alone, it's fine as it is.
This does happen to sewists, is that we're constantly picking at it and saying, oh, it's nice, but you don't want to look at that bit, and this bit's not nice, and that kind of thing. And I think maybe it's partly that that you are being overly critical and looking
it definitely
for flaws.
is, but bearing in mind that we're quite early in our man sewing journey, I've got lots more things to make for him. He's getting a little bit pissed off with me now, picking fault in things, so I have made him a promise that I'm going to stop doing that, and that as long as he is happy, I will be happy, and I will leave it at that.
Absolutely.
So that's my promise.
Man sewing promises.
Yes.
Well, I made a Burda. This is the one that I made. What is it? A Burda 6718 with the lovely Freddie Mercury lookalike modelling this lovely hoodie. And it turned out quite good, actually. It's a good fit. I went again. I'm doing this completely as a let's just see how the sizing is. I'm not particularly paying a lot of attention to it. If I buy a medium for my husband, and if it comes in small, medium, large, I'm making a medium. Let's just see how it turns out. So I think that's a good experiment. And I would say it's slightly big. So if I made another one for him, I might size it down.
Okay.
But I used a beautiful look back grey marl sweatshirting from Minerva, which is $11.99 a metre, and it's so drapey and it's such a soft fabric that I can get away with it being slightly oversized. Husband likes it, he loves it, he has been wearing it already. I have had to wash it before he actually could wear it in the pictures this weekend. So that's how much he's worn it so much already. I wanted to make sure it was clean. So it's definitely been a hit.
Excellent.
So I would definitely make another one. I don't think I would make the other version with this sort of cowl neck. I don't think that's his style, but I might make him a thicker one, so one more of a sort of the thicker fabric like you used in your husband's for the hoodie. And
so I should probably point out that I have also made this hoodie, and this was before we decided to start this man sewing series. It's one of the things that started it. So I've made this hoodie. We'll insert a picture of that as well, so you can see how it looks like on different people. So I made it in a grey loopback sweatshirt, green loopback sweatshirt. And again, he
lives in it, doesn't he?
He does. First thing he puts on when he gets home from work every day.
So that's a good one. It's fairly self-explanatory. I quite liked it was the way that it's put together is slightly different to any other raglan that I have done. So that was quite nice, and I obeyed the rules and followed the pattern instructions and didn't just go, well, I don't do it like that. I normally so I just did as I was told.
We are trying to do that as much as possible with these patterns, because we can't review them properly for you unless we actually follow the instructions. If we ignore them and just do it our own way, then we can't tell you for real whether the pattern instructions are any good or not. So we're being very good and following it to the letter.
The only thing I would possibly do for future ones is I would possibly line the hood.
Yes, that would be an option.
So at the moment, the grey marl one I've got is a traditional look back, so it's very light on the inside, and you can see the seam, and it doesn't bother my husband. But again, it's a bit that sore critique thing that I've got going on. I can see it, and I'm not happy with it. But he's not even mentioned it, so I'm leaving it as it is. But if I make him another one, if it's not a fluffy one, I think a fluffy one you can get away with it if it's got like a fluffy interior. But if it's another look back, I will probably line the top of it. Just the hood.
That's a very easy thing to do. You would just on this pattern you would need to trim the front of the hood down, because it has a self-facing, so it allows for a decent amount to be turned back under and have a deep hem. So you would want to remove some of that. Or you would want to make your lining piece smaller by that amount, so that when the lining joins the facing, they end up being the same size.
Perfect. So that's all I would do. Apart from that, it was absolutely fine, and I will definitely make another one.
Yes, so far so good. I think it's going well. Our partners are very pleased. They're getting lots of new things to wear, and we are learning a lot. And it's funny because you would think so far all we've done is sew with jersey, and you would think that if you've made a jersey top for yourself, it's got to be fairly similar. But we've found lots of things. One of the most common ones, which came up again this week when I was sewing a sweatshirt, is that raglan's tops do stretch out. And I think, well, why are they stretching out on men's when they aren't on women's? And I've come to the conclusion that they've always been stretching out. It's just that women's necklines are generally lower. So if your neckline ends up a tad lower than it was supposed to be, you don't really notice. But for a man where you're looking for a nice tight crew neck, if that stretches out, then you do really notice it, because it's not tight anymore. So that's been an interesting journey, and I found that you definitely have to stabilize those neck edges.
I've noticed with bands and things as well, the interesting thing that I've found is with bands on women's sweatshirts or tops, they're usually quite tight, so you have to stretch them quite a lot. On men's, there's hardly any stretch whatsoever. It's as if it's just exactly the same size as the width of the top. So I found that with the bottom band of this sweatshirt, the hoodie that I made. So I was lining it up going, why has it not got any negative ease? I can understand why I wasn't having to stretch it. But that was nice. It was a nice surprise.
It was nice. Although my husband personally prefers, from a style point of view, he likes the band to cinch in a little bit. So I had to make his band smaller than the pattern recommended. One of the things that we have learned so far is that Burda seems to be the strongest of all of the big four pattern companies in terms of menswear patterns. We have noticed that New Look have started doing menswear patterns. We've not tried any of those, so we're going to have to maybe give one or two of those a go. Simplicity do have a decent amount. Vogue and McCall's have a very, very small amount.
Yeah.
But most of the pattern companies tend to do just costumes and sleepwear, loungewear.
Honestly.
That's pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah. But Burda do have a decent range of young, cool patterns.
Yeah. They're starting to filter through, I think that's what it is.
Yes, and I've always had a love-hate relationship with Burda because I like the style of them, but I find little things about them annoying. The way that the back of the pattern envelope is different, and they don't actually give you the sizing on the back of the pattern envelope. You've got to go and look on the tissue, and they give very limited information in terms of fabric requirements and all that sort of thing. And I've always found that quite frustrating. But I have to say, I think the instructions are good. They are minimal.
Yes.
But they do work.
They assume that you know what you're doing.
Yes, they do, yeah.
Which, luckily for me, now I do.
Yes.
I remember my first couple of Burda ones, I wanted to set fire to them.
Yeah.
Couldn't understand a word. But if you've done some basic dressmaking for yourself, they shouldn't be any more complicated than a women's wear pattern. It should even be easier. So there's less instructions as well, because it tends to be just one pattern. So you've got 2 neck options, but it's one pattern.
Yeah.
So naturally the instructions are quite simplified, because they're just dealing with one thing rather than trying to make just 3 or 4 different versions.
Yeah, the great thing about them is that they are very good at giving you proper finished garment measurements, though, on all of the patterns.
Yeah.
Which is one thing that we found with the indie pattern companies, is that can be a little bit hit and miss in terms of what the finished garment is, and often you have to actually measure the pattern pieces to find out exactly how much ease is in it and whether you're going to like the finish.
It just makes it so much more complicated.
Yeah. But we are trying to do an even amount of both. So on our shirts coming up next, we've got our short sleeve shirts coming up, and I have used an indie pattern and you've used a big 4 pattern.
No, I'm using a book.
Oh, that's right. Yes, sorry.
So I've bought The Gentleman's Wardrobe. I'm reading it now because it's on the table, by Vanessa Muncy. And it has a basic range of patterns for men. So you've got a long sleeve shirt, a short sleeve shirt, some trousers, a waistcoat, some pajamas, that kind of thing. And I'm using the short sleeve shirt from that.
That's right. Yeah.
Just to give us another aspect.
Yeah,
as well.
another
And
option.
I've heard good reviews about this. There's been a couple of people who have recommended it in the man sewing hashtag and things like that. So far it's going good. I'm enjoying the shirt making, I'm enjoying the construction of it, and it does looks as if it's going to be fun. Yeah. So I'm confident about this one.
Yes, excellent. So we'll bring that to you next Sunday. Yeah. We will also be bringing you a roundup of the other sweatshirt and hoodie patterns that are available on menswear when we do a roundup on Tuesday.
Yes.
But if there's any other information that you would like about any of these patterns, then please do comment below. Let us know what you think, and do let us know also if you are taking part in any man sewing. If we are giving you an itch to start sewing for the man in your life, or any of the men in your life, then make sure you share your makes with us and use hashtag man sewing so that we can see what you've been up to.
Tag us on Instagram as well at Strawberry Sewing and She Sews Vintage, and we'll comment and send the love to you for doing some man sewing.
Yes. Okay guys, we'll be back soon with a new video. Take care. Bye.